Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I hope that all of you are fine and studying at home and giving a proper time to your studies. Last time, some of our classes were missed because of the exams in the first year and second year classes, but we'll try to cover the things today. But in case if we'll need some extra classes, so we would like to arrange. You know that we have got the schedule for the exam, which is basically the
Sir, sir, two
first
chapters are there, but
monthly
we have
exam.
completed only one.
First monthly exam. Okay, so in first monthly exam, you know that you are going to have your chapter number one, and chapter number two is there, which is for the functions of operating system and interfaces of operating system. So we are going to start from the same point that we had started, that we had left last time, and we had accomplished up to the different professions of the, professions of the ICT and computer systems. So what we are going to do today, we are going to see some other things which are there in the same chapter. Number one, we are starting from the input devices. You know, there are definitions of the input devices, and we need to go through it. And this is quite easy, and there isn't anything difficult. Input device is the device using which you enter data or commands to the computer system. Okay, the most common device is there, which is basically the keyboard. Keyboard is normally attached by PS2 port or attached with the USB port. It is also nowadays available wirelessly using Bluetooth. Okay, keyboard can be a smart keyboard or a normal standard size keyboard having numeric keypad. Okay, so there are different sizes of the keyboard today available. Different smart keyboards are also available to give data and command. If you will go and you will see over there are different label diagram of keyboard. So you will see that these keys are divided into some categories. There are some categories of the keys. If you will go and you will see, and these keys are basically used for different purposes. Okay, these are the different keys. So you will see over there, these are the character keys. This is tab, this is caps lock, this is shift key, this is control key, alt key. These are the special purpose keys. These are the arrow keys, arrow keys. And shift key is there when we need to switch the command or change the command. Just like when you are using small letters and you want to convert it to the capital letter, you press shift with it. So these are the different keys. At the top, you will see that there are function keys available, and each key has got different function, and that function depends on the software that you are using. Okay, over here at the right side, you will see that this is basically called the numeric keypad. Numeric keypad contains the numbers and the mathematical operators as well. A special enter sign is also there. Enter key is also there with it. Enter key is also there in the normal character keypad as well. Numbers are also given over there in the character keypad as well, where you can use them with the shift to use the special character like add sign, hash sign, dollar sign, add sign. These all signs are also available on the numbers. So there are some special purpose scrolling keys are also there, delete keys there, print screen request, backspace, enter. These all are the keys available on the normal keyboard. When we talk about the mouse, so mouse is basically a pointing device, and in mouse we can give command, even we can enter data by selection, just like we do on the internet forms. So we can give command comparatively in easier way when we are using mouse. So if you will go and if you will open some label diagram of a mouse, you will see that these components which are there, these are the components which are available for a mouse. Left button, right button, scrolling button. Okay, wheel, scrolling wheel is there at the top. Left button, left key, right key is there, right click, left click. And there would be a cable, and under the mouse there will be either a ball if it is a traditional mouse, or otherwise there will be a mechanism which is basically called the laser mechanism. So in these all types of mouse, you will see at least these three buttons, means which is basically scrolling wheel, left and right buttons. These are the buttons to give commands, and you know that we can use right button to create pop-up menu, and this all information is mentioned over here. Now if we come towards the microphone, it is also a most common device which converts electromagnetic signal, which brings the longitudinal wave of sound wave and converts into electromagnetic signal, and that is entered inside the computer system, inside your sound card, and sound card converts it into digital format. So mic is the most commonly used device which is used for the sake of input. It is only an input device. You know, there is inside, there is specific mechanism which converts it, this longitudinal wave into electromagnetic wave. Now we have got the digital camera. You know that digital camera is the camera which takes the images in the form of digital format, which is JPEG format. Okay. Normally it contains the LCD with it. You can see the output as well at the same time. And it contains the LCD screen. It has got the storage as well. It has got the picture development process sometime it is available. Uh, and size, you can choose the size of the picture, you can change the resolution of the picture. These all options are available in the digital cameras. If you will go and you will see over here, so then you will be able to see that digital cameras are available for different types. Okay, so these all are the types of the digital cameras. And Canon is the famous company, similarly Nikon is another company. These all are the digital cameras. You know, if you will see that label diagram, you will be able to see that what kind of buttons are there with it. So if you will see over here, you will see that this is basically the label diagram. And you know, these are the different components. There are cross keys, zoom keys, power switch is there, and in which you can see the output in the LCD display. Then there is a scanner. Scanner is the device which is used to convert physical picture, you know, a printed picture into digital format. And scanner is the famous device which is used for converting it. You know, there are different types of scanners. You know, scanners are there which are used to scan different things. For example, flatbed scanner uses flat surface to scan documents. Flat sheet fed scanner, the paper passes through it in the sheet fed scanner. Handheld scanner is basically the scanner using which we can bring the scanner to the product, and we can take input for any sticker or any barcode or anything, which is called handheld scanner. And card scanners are also there, which are used to scan the business cards. These are the different examples available for the scanning devices. So in your book, you will see that they have only covered about the scanner, which is normally a picture scanner. We can scan the images from the photographs, magazines, books, etc. Okay, these all things can be scanned using scanner. Scanner even can convert the text into, you know, image into text if it contains the characters. So the characters will be in the readable format using optical character recognition mechanism. Optical character recognition mechanism means that there will be some mechanism of converting the text. Just like if I take this image, so this will be an image, but if I convert it using OCR, so it will convert it to the characters, and I will be able to edit them as well. Then you would have seen this device, which is basically the barcode reader. Barcode reader you would have seen in supermarkets, and you know, inside these stores. It is used to read the product barcode. You know, it is used to read the product barcode, and of course it is connected with the computer system which contains the database where there is will be detail of the product. So the detail of the product will be found from the database, and that information will come, that what is the name of the product, what is the price of the product, what is the discount given on it. All this information will be extracted from the database according to the figures mentioned inside the database. And you will see that when you get the receipt, all the prices are mentioned with the names. So this is basically the mechanism. Okay, now we come towards the next point, which is sorry, I forgot about the touch screen. Touch screen is also important. Touch screen is the device, you know, touch screen is used inside the cell phones, in tablets. It is not only an input device but also an output device. At the same time, it is giving you, it is showing you the output. At the same time, it is an input device. Okay, so since it is an input device and output device as well, so that's why it is basically a multi-purpose device. And you know that we what kind of operations are there? We perform swiping, pinching, dragging, you know, touch and hold, double tap, we double press the finger, you know, to open. Sometimes some commands are there, tap. These all are the operations that normally we perform. Then come towards the barcode reader. We have discussed about barcode reader. These are available at the POS. POS means point of sale. Point of sale means inside the superstores there are point of sales where the barcodes are used. You would have seen the barcodes at the point of sales at POS. So when you will write POS, so it will show you that this is basically the point of sale with which this meter is attached for calculation, you know, for taking the amount from the credit card, and this handheld scanner, which is basically barcode reader, is attached with it. Now come towards the next point, which is webcam. Webcam is also an important input device. It is used with the computer systems, just like we can use our own built-in webcam, which is there in the laptops. If our webcam is not of good quality, we can attach separately. We can attach a web camera with it, and that web camera will take the image or video of ourselves, and of course it will be an input device to capture the in pictures or motion video. Then biometric devices are there. Face scanners, hand scanners, palm scanners, which are basically the palm scanners, finger scanners, and you know, voice scanner even. These are the biometric input devices using which we take input for this kind of data. Means if you need to take input for the image of the face, or a hand scanner, or finger scanner, or voice scanner, all these things. Stylus is a pen, you know, these all are the points mentioned over here, but I have mentioned some extra points over here. Stylus is also used to give input, you know, and the touchpad is there built in the touchpad is also an input device, which is built in inside the laptops. If you will see, you will be able to see over here that the touchpad is given over here. Laptops, it is used like a mouse, and the two buttons are also there with it. Two buttons are also given with it, you know, and you can use them as left and right key, as left and right button, and you can use it as a mouse. You can move the mouse cursor on your screen quite easily. Joystick is a famous device, as I have mentioned, that it is used for playing games. It is used with the PlayStation, or it is used with the computer systems as well. And if you will go and you will see the joystick, everyone is familiar with the joystick. It has some keys with it, you know, for giving commands, and it is more convenient if you are playing the game with the mouse. So it will give you more convenience with it to give different type of commands for using different types of, you know, Here it is. So joystick is the device which is especially used in playing games, or it is used with the cell phones. It is also used with the tablets, with the laptop, with the desktop, with the PlayStations. Okay. I hope up to here all the points about input devices. These are, just definitions given in your book. So I have explained you with the help of the diagrams as well. If you have got any question up to this point, you can ask me right now. Or you can give me the feedback by thumbs up that this point is quite clear to you. What about the rest of the students? Okay, good, good. Fine. Let me mark the attendance, note down the attendance names. This is 9th and today it is 9 May. Okay, now come towards the next point, which is basically about the system unit. System unit, what does it mean? What is meant by the system unit? System unit is the main tower or chassis or the computer system's main box. It is basically called the system unit. You will be able to see over here that this is basically the box of the computer system, the box of the computer system, inside which all the devices are there. This is basically the box of the computer system which contains the devices. Motherboard will be there inside, DVD-ROM will be there attached with it, hard drive inside with it. So it contains all the devices. Power supply will be there. Backside of the system unit will show you the input and output ports, which is basically called the IO channel of a desktop computer. So when you will go and you will see that this is basically the IO channel, the backside of the system unit, on which you will be able to see different ports available. This is basically the backside of the system unit. So system unit contains inside all the devices. Normally we call it CPU. CPU is not the right term. CPU is basically the chip which is installed on the system unit. Now we come towards the motherboard, and in motherboard, motherboard is the main board with which all the devices are directly or indirectly attached. This is basically the motherboard. Okay, and on the motherboard, you will be able to see that on the motherboard there are different components. So I have labeled these components over here so that you should be able to identify all these components. In your book, if you will see that they have just given the introduction of the motherboard, but I have explained you that these are the different components. These are the different components and you must know their names. Just like mouse port, this is the mouse port, number one. Number two, there are USB ports available. Okay. Similarly, you will see that there is parallel port, on the back side. This is basically the parallel port with which you can attach the printer. These white color ports which are there, these are PCI ports, 8 number. These are basically the ISA slots given over here at 9 number. These were there in the old systems, but nowadays the ISA slot has been removed. Nowadays ISA slot is not available. You will see there is this small battery at number 10. There is a small battery, cell, which is there in the watches as well. But this is a large size cell which is there, which is called CMOS battery. This CMOS battery is there, which provides you the current. It provides the current to the clock of the computer system, and that's why whenever you open your computer system, you see that your time is always correct, even you are not connected with the internet. Now at number 5, you can see over here that these are the RAM slots on which you will insert the RAM chips. Okay. And at number 6, this is basically the IDE in which you can attach the floppy drive. There is an IDE in which you can attach the hard drive and the CD-ROM at number 7. Okay, number 13 is the power socket for the motherboard. Of course, motherboard needs the power to run it. Okay, so these all are the components on the motherboard. Being a student of computer science, you must know these components. AGP slot is there at number 11. AGP stands for Advanced Graphics Processor. Advanced Graphics Processor means you can attach over here the VGA card with it. Advanced Graphics Processor is basically the VGA card. Okay. Similarly, there is CPU slot and power supply. All these options are there. Okay. If you have got any question, please ask me. Yes, you can unmute yourself and you can ask me the question directly. Yes, Alrian, you have got any question? No question? No question is there? Yes, Ayaz. Yes.
सर अब इसके क्वेश्चन आंसर्स कब भेजेंगे?
Question answers, I am giving you the notes. Okay. I am giving you the notes every day. So question can come from anywhere. No one is going to say that the question will come from the exercise. Keep in mind, the question will not come as it is from the exercise. This thing should be clear. This is not your grade 7 or grade 8. This is now board exam. So in board exam, the complete text is there. Question can come from anywhere from the book. I can ask you define system unit. Okay. I can ask you what is motherboard. Not necessarily this question is available in the exercise. So I am providing you in your Google Classroom. I am providing you the notes and you have to go through notes regarding all aspects. Okay. Classroom.google.com. You will be able to see over there. So I will also inshallah attach the videos of these lessons. The videos are there with me and I will attach so that you can go through for the revision. Okay. There won't be any issue with it. Okay. Yes. Aryan, sorry. Aryan Ali.
Sir, I am currently new. I haven't joined the Google Classroom.
Okay. Aryan, you just note down the Google class code I'm showing you right now on your screen. Okay, I'm going to show it right now on your screen. You will note it down. All those students who don't know, they should note it down. Why? Because Google Class is very important for us, because all the material are there normally inside the computer systems. So when you are performing any operation, so basically what the RAM is doing? RAM is kept by the RAM. It stores all the data and the instructions required for processing. It stores intermediate results for processing. It stores final results of processing. What does it mean by processing, and what does it mean by stores when this information is getting entered? So if you take the example of the Microsoft Excel, okay, we open the Microsoft Excel. So when we enter some numbers in the Microsoft Excel to process, let's suppose I am entering some number over here. So when I enter over here, let's suppose 56. So this is the data, it will go to RAM. And this is the data, it will go to RAM. Okay. Then this data will be added, and the operation will be done by the CPU. If I apply one formula over here, so all these numbers could be added. We can add them, and when I will press enter, CPU will give result, and result will come back to RAM, and then the result will be visible to us. So when we enter these numbers, so where these numbers will go, they will initially go to RAM, and then with the coordination of the RAM, they will go to the CPU to be processed. And then when the result will come again, result will come to the RAM first, and then that result will come to the display unit, to the computer display, which is basically the monitor or the screen, and we'll be able to see the screen that the result is available. Now, who is giving all these instructions to perform this operation in this way? Control unit. Control unit is basically just like a traffic sergeant who involves all the operations with his permission. Okay, so he gives the permission to do the operations, and he performs all these operations accordingly. And what happens with it, that what are these different features of the control unit? It is responsible for controlling the transfer of data and instructions among other units of computer. It manages and coordinates all the units of computer, and it obtains the instructions from the memory, interprets them, means translate them, and directs the operations of the computer. So whatever the command you are giving, for example, I am minimizing one window, maximizing one window, closing one program, opening a new program, all these operations, all these commands that I am giving. So control unit is going to handle these commands. Control unit will see that which command is coming to us first, which command is coming to us second, and then third, and accordingly it is going to obey these commands and will going to give us the output. It communicates with input and output devices. It communicates with the input and output devices for transfer of data or results from storage. It does not process or store data. It does not processes data. It does not store data. Keep in mind, it just performs the management, administration, that when data will come, when processing will be done. So processing will be done by the arithmetic and the logic unit. So the arithmetic logic unit is the third component which performs arithmetical operations and logical operations. What is meant by arithmetical operation? Arithmetical operation, just like I performed over here one arithmetical operation that add this one and this one and this one. So this will be basically an arithmetical operation: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. What is meant by logical operation? What is meant by logical operation? For example, if I say that this is 45, for example, and this is 67. Now, which one is greater? If I need to decide, so I will compare them. I will check that this one is less than this one. E8 is less than F8. So if it is yes, so it is give me the answer true. If it is no, it will give me the answer false. So in computer system, we need to deal with these logics. We need to deal with these logics as well. Okay. So these logics which are there, we need to go through the logic, just like the comparison of the Numbers, this is basically called the logic design. Comparison of the numbers, characters, and data. Function of arithmetic section is to perform arithmetical operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And logic section is to check the logic, comparison, matching, selection, merging of data. All these things are done by the logic section. So this is basically the mechanism of the CPU, which is given in your book in short, and I have explained you in the form of notes where I have mentioned all these things. Now come towards the registers. We also go through the registers, storage devices. Before storage devices, we must know what is basically meant by the registers. Registers are the components. These are the components inside the computer systems, inside the CPU. Keep in mind, this is the area where data is stored during processing, and the instructions are stored during processing. So registers are the area where the data and instructions are stored during the processing. So we need to know about the registers as well, and we must know that what are different registers. Their names are mentioned, so this can come in the short question. Okay, instruction register, accumulator register, data register, memory buffer register. These are the register. Apart from this, others are also there. These are the small memory units inside the CPU. These are the small memory units inside the CPU, which holds the data and instructions during processing. This is the simple definition, which holds the data and instructions during processing, but they hold them temporarily. It is not like hard disk that it will be stored permanently. No, it is not like that. It is not like that. It is for temporary storage during processing. Keep in mind, during processing, they are holding the data. During processing, they are just holding the data and instructions. What are the different names? Instruction register, accumulator register, data register, and memory register. I hope this point is clear. Up to CPU, if you have got any question, you can just ask me right now by raising the hand. If you have got any confusion, anything that you need to ask. Yes, Abdul Hadi Humayun. Abdul Hadi.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you explain about the register again?
Okay.
Yes.
Registers are the small areas inside the CPU. Registers are the small areas inside the CPU. Now see over here. See this diagram. If you will see this diagram, you will be able to understand the whole concept. See, just like this is the CPU. So CPU is not alone. This is a chip. I told you that there is a world inside it. There is a world inside it. So in the CPU, there is arithmetic logic unit, control unit, but with that, memory buffer register, memory address register, program counter, instruction register, these are the CPU registers. What is meant by register? Register is the area which holds the data and instruction during processing. For example, when I am entering this data, it will go to memory data register, this data. I want to add them. So adding means performing arithmetical operation, plus sign. This addition is basically the instruction. It will go to instruction register. Where it will go? It will go to instruction register. Add them. What to add? This data. For example, this is X and this is Y. These values will go to which register? These values will go to memory data register, which is called memory MDR, memory data register. Now, when the answer will come, for example, this is the answer. So where the answer will go? The answer will go to accumulator. Accumulator is the register which stores the answer. Now, when the answer will come, so the answer will be sent back. If you see the diagram, answer will be sent back to the memory, and from memory it will come to my screen, and I will be able to see the answer of the result on my screen. This is clear now. Will you please give me thumbs up to show that this point is clear? We have done up to CPU. We have done up to CPU. Okay. So now our class time is over. Inshallah, we'll continue in the next class. And inshallah, I'll upload the videos as well, go through the videos as well. Okay. Thank you so much, all of you.